OffBeat Sports Podcast.
It's been a tale of two seasons for the Boston Celtics.
I probably aged about 10 years just from that series.
I'd probably compare myself to just a younger, smarter, more handsome, stronger Michael Jordan.
Let's go Celtics. Go Patriots.
These are guys who, when you give them a bowl of Cheerios in the morning, they finish every last drop of milk.
Absolute clown over here.
I'm ready when you are, baby.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to the OffBeat Sports Podcast. As today we are joined by Jacob Dobbs, linebacker for the James Madison Dukes and formerly Holy Cross. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you guys for having me.
So starting in high school, you played for De La Salle in Michigan, where you were an AP All-State first team and had many offers, including a preferred walk-on to Michigan. So walk us through your recruitment journey and how you ended up at Holy Cross in New England.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty weird. Didn't really have many offers this spring of my junior year after my junior season until about May. I got my first offer from Youngstown State in Ohio. They were a pretty good program. They had recently come off a national championship, I think, back in 2014, national runner-up rather. And then, I started to pick up some other interest from like Lehigh, Fordham, and I think Holy Cross was actually one of my later offers that happened in about, I want to say June. And it happened because Coach Vaganic came into De La Salle, found me, got to sit down with him, meet him, took me out for a visit. Met Coach Chesney and him kind of fell in love with the place. They eventually offered me, and really it was kind of a slam dunk after there. Made the best decision of my life going to Holy Cross, and it was just a blessing in disguise, to be able to pick that as an 18-year-old where I'm at now.
Yeah, so throughout your Holy Cross career, you had the opportunity to be a part of a team that won the Patriot League every year that you were there and also went to the FCS playoffs 4 times. So what would you say like those teams had that made them so successful? And we weren't sure if you had any funny memories of your time on the Hill that you'd like to share.
Well, listen, I got a bunch of funny memories on the Hill that I would share, but I don't want them to be public because I would expose some of my friends. But no, I'm honestly kidding. But no, I think the thing that made our teams great is we had an elite brotherhood, elite leadership, and elite coaching. And when you combine those three things, you get something pretty special. We had people who bought into a specific culture that is Holy Cross football. And, we had a lot of people who sacrificed maybe their own best interest to play specific positions and do what's best for the team. And when you have a bunch of people who are willing to, sacrifice for the betterment of the guy next to him and hurt a little bit more so the guy next to him hurts a little bit less, you're going to get great things. So obviously it takes a lot of talented players, which our coaches did a great job of bringing together, but they also established an elite culture. And I think that is what helped us be so successful there, is because we really had not only good football players, but really amazing people. And I think I'm not sure if you guys have seen some of the stuff we've done in the community with Be the Match, the National Bone Marrow Registry, some other the uplifting athlete stuff, our Lift for Life. We did a game against Georgetown where, turnovers and points scored went towards curing rare diseases. So things like that are much bigger than football, I think, demonstrates the kind of quality people that we had on that Holy Cross team for all those years. And it really, helps because you can be great football players, but if you're not bought into a bigger cause and you aren't great people, you're not going to go the distance to do, special things. So really credit to the coaching staff for getting, the right people there to be able to establish those teams.
Yeah, so you guys played a good number of FBS teams in your time there, from Syracuse to Boston College. So do you think the heightened atmosphere in those games elevated your play in the field? And do you think this experience will help you to adjust into playing in front of bigger crowds in the Sun Belt next year?
Yeah, I mean, luckily for Holy Cross, I mean, the amount of fans we were able to get at some of our games, like I know Fordham, we had I want to say 23,000 people in 2022. So we've been able to play in some of our own pretty cool environments within our own stadium. And I really think the level of competition, that we fostered every day during practice, just with the level of talent, having guys like Matt Sluka, Coker, CJ, that entire offensive line, Jordan Fuller, Purdy. And then on defense, we've had, a number of guys throughout the years. Bent Whitley and Liam Anderson are now in the NFL. So just the amount of talent we've been able to have on a daily basis in practice, I think, is why so many guys have had successful football careers. So I think that is, a really big thing. And then I think too, just the style of football we played and playing some bigger competition. Yeah, that obviously, helps, the transition. But I think it really comes with just, practice every single day and the kind of quality, athlete you're going up against, on a day-to-day basis. But at the same time, it does help, to have those experiences.
Yeah, you mentioned your former teammate Liam Anderson, who just had a big week, being called up by the Colts to the active roster. So, both of you being linebackers, I'm sure you work together. So, talk to us about being able to work with Liam and how you guys helped each other get better every day.
Yeah, I mean, Liam is just an unbelievable human being. He's, still a close friend of mine. I still keep in constant contact with him. He was a kid who, I kind of looked up to when I first got there because he had already been there for a year. He was an unbelievable athlete, and he's just, such a good person. So it's always fun to be around him. He's, a huge juice guy is what I like to call him because he's always just so positive, just has that big smile on his face. And we had a pretty good rivalry in NCAA football 14 during our time there before he had since left. But I'm not sure if he ever beat me in NCAA football 14. So I wouldn't call it a rivalry, but that was, I honestly think, what we were most competitive about. But we were brothers on the field, and having a guy like him who's just that special, and you get to work with every single day is a blessing. So definitely extremely grateful for him.
So you mentioned NCAA 14. What are your thoughts about like being at a FBS school now, having the chance to be in the next edition of EA college football that's coming out this summer? I think JMU will be in the game.
You know what? I actually have not thought about that till you brought it up, and I really don't know what to say at this moment because that actually probably would be the coolest thing ever. And I'm actually right now turning in my Xbox One S in my old Xbox 360. I'm going to try to go do it at GameStop soon so I can get the new system for NCAA 14. Because I only think it's on the new system, or not NCAA 14, NCAA 24. It's only on the new system, correct? Like the Xbox,
Yeah,
like series. Yeah, I haven't bought a new
Probably.
Xbox since like 2015. So I'm going to have to scavenge together some old supplies to do that. But that honestly, I think that would be really cool. Like that for me is like a pretty like you smile moment. Like that's a big deal.
I think we might have to clip that part about you saying Liam never beat you. Might have to post that out there and let you guys fight that one out.
Oh no, you have my full permission to do that. Because I can back it up. I can back it up. The 21s I've done to him in that game. Nah, but it was I would always get like pretty scared during those games because your hands are all sweaty, like you're like, I don't want to lose to my friend. This is gonna suck. He might have beat me though, so we'll see. I'm okay with you posting that though, because I can back it up.
who was your go-to team on that? Who'd you always go with?
So I have the live rosters, I want to say from the 20, I think 19 season, because there's like you could go on like Reddit and you used to be able to pull like gamer tags and you could just type it in and it would download rosters. So what we used to do is we used to do the first three ranked randoms we got. And so whatever I think the preseason rankings were for 2019, you pull from those teams and we'd always just play like kind of like Madden style first,
Mm,
three randoms. That's how we do it. So I really never had like
that's
a
the best way to
specific
go.
team. Yeah, like we were able to get it to that. Like that's how like serious we took it, like downloading rosters and stuff. Like it was intense. Like this wasn't just another game. It's a big deal to us.
So you had arguably the best game of your career this season, the first game against Merrimack. You had 21 total tackles, a bunch of assists too. And from watching you play the past couple of years at Holy Cross, since I've been there, it always seems like you've had a knack for being where the ball is on every play. You look up and you're there. So we were wondering if you have like a signature move that you like to use, or if there's a strategy that you like to employ that kind of allows you to be in the right place at the right time on most plays.
Yeah, I really think that like what I pride myself on and what I would like say is like a staple of who I am as a football player is just the amount of film I watch and the amount of time I spend trying to find like little things that teams give away to, show what kind of play they're running. Like I think like the best memory I have is like Georgetown, the last game of the year. They ran the set like one or twice a game where they brought in the two receivers. It was a snug set. They would go split backs in the backfield and they would have the other receiver wide to the boundary. And every time they did it, they were doing it in order to pick the linebacker and try to sneak the running back up the seam with this like kind of like fake sweep motion from the boundary side running back. And when you can go through film and find moments like that, it makes you look like you're playing faster, or you look like a genius because you can read things. But in reality, you just put in so much work that you're just going to out prepare the opponent. Because at the end of the day, an offense is going to have to do what they've done. Like, you're not going to create a whole new offense in in 1 week. So I think just the amount of preparation and film study that I try to do allows me to be able, to kind of see things happen a little bit quicker. And credit to our coaching staff and the guys around me. When you play next to great people, it's a lot easier to play football. When you have great coaches, it's a lot easier to play football as well.
Yeah, so kind of as many people know, you entered the transfer portal this cycle, this offseason, after finishing up at Holy Cross, and you wound up committing to James Madison. And there were also reports that you had offers from schools like Duke, Michigan, and Vanderbilt, as well as weighing the option of entering the draft. So we were kind of wondering what stuck out about JMU that made you want to go there instead of entering the draft or going anywhere else.
Yeah, I thought that, me and my family, when we sat down and we thought about it, we felt that, another year putting together some good film could really, be a big help for my future, NFL, reputation and like draft stock going into the following year. And I think when it came down to it, I've been very lucky to be a part of a lot of great teams, especially the last, 7 years ending in championships. And I think what stuck out to me about James Madison is just their level of culture and how much they win. Like, they're winners. Their football team has a championship level culture, and there's no secret about it. And then Coach Chesney going there was not expecting that to happen. So when that kind of happened and the opportunity presented itself, it almost seemed impossible to turn down that situation with the investment from their administration, their fans, their community in that football team, and how good their football team is with then Coach Chesney going there, someone who I've known for the last 6 years. It just really made it impossible to say no to that situation.
So when Coach Chesney kind of accepted that offer at JMU and broke the news to the team, did he reach out to you first about joining James Madison, or is that something that you kind of just explored through the portal? You had interest, and then he kind of just ended up there.
Yeah, I mean, I entered the portal right after the season ended because I wanted to try to get as much information as quickly as possible, make the best decision for myself on next year. And then it was really weird because like I was not like I was really kind of leaning more towards going into the draft than, coming back, because I'm like, it's going to be really hard for me to find the right fit. Like, it's hard to really develop relationships with these coaches and really, develop a certain level of trust where that you're going to fit in right in some of these programs. And then the whole Coach Chesney thing happened, and it kind of just opened up this weird opportunity because, like, once he got the job and settled down, a few days later, when he starts evaluating, the roster and how the roster is going to make up and seeing where he needs to go in the portal and help build the roster that way for the team. It happened that at the linebacker position, they had 3 guys in the portal, and he calls me and he's like, "Hey, you should come down here and take a visit." And then, went down there, visited, was able to meet with him in person, and it just kind of, went from there.
Yeah, so now we got a few fun ones for you to wrap this up. No pressure, but this is what makes or break these interviews, these answers. So be ready. All right. So number 1 is, who's your NFL GOAT?
I mean, I have to say Brady. I mean, it's hard to dispute, the amount of rings. He played football at the University of Michigan. I live in the state of Michigan, so I think I'm just going to ride that one out. But yeah, I mean, it's really hard to dispute his greatness because not only did he do it in New England, he went down in Tampa and won again. And there's a common theme there, and it's Tom Brady. So I rest my case.
Good start. Good start.
Next one is, what is your go-to pregame hype song? Big game at Fitton. What song you bumping for the game?
So I have the same pregame playlist. It's called Football Hype. I do it every week. I listen to songs in a specific order, and the last song that I listen to before hitting the field is "Lose Yourself" by Eminem every single time.
I love that. Eminem was my favorite. So That's another good answer. 2 for 2. All right.
Two
So
for two. Two for
if you
two.
if you could have one celebrity across anything come and watch you play, who would it be?
One celebrity. Let's see. I mean, honestly, like any single NFL owner to come watch me play, I'd pick one of the 32. That's who I'd have to, because that's the best investment in your future. And I think that's the safest and best answer. I'm not going to pick one. I would just hope that one of the 32 were available on that day and be willing to come, watch 60 minutes of some hard fought football.
All right, last one is, who is your favorite non-football athlete? Can be any sport other than football.
Non-football athlete. I got to think about this. What is this? Ooh. I was a huge baseball fan when I was younger. I went to a lot of Detroit Tiger games. So I'm going to have to say Miguel Cabrera is probably one of my favorite, because that's just my initial gut answer. So I'm going to go with Miguel Cabrera. Unbelievable Triple Crown winner for the Detroit Tigers. Got to go with him.
Not that one. I got a bonus one for you. Michigan or Washington on Monday.
Listen, this is going to be a tough one, because I think that Washington with Michael Penix, their offense is unbelievable. But I will say, when you beat Nick Saban and you beat Alabama, the standard of college football, and the way that Michigan did, with how many mistakes Michigan made, I think it's hard not to say that Michigan's going to go win the national championship. Now, it's a toss up. I don't think either team is that far apart in any area. I think that Washington, has found a way to win all year, but so is Michigan. And I'm just going to give the edge to Michigan because they beat Alabama. So until someone dethrones Michigan, it's Michigan's national championship to lose, but Washington could easily do it. So I'm going to save myself there with saying that Washington could easily do it, but I'm going to go with Michigan.
I agree with you. I like how Michigan plays, and a lot of those mistakes could be just chalked up to they haven't played in a month. So that's what, because you're not gonna have two muffed punts, like a really bad fumble like they had. Like again, I mean that's just tough. If JJ McCarthy can have a clean slate, I think they can go and win it.
Yeah, and I think the interesting to watching that game, I'll add some of my own personal thoughts on this. I think, how does Michigan handle rushing Michael Penix? Because I don't know if Milroe scrambled that much against Michigan. I don't know how many yards it was, but I really don't. He didn't break off any run over, I want to say, 12 yards.
Yeah, the first half they contained him really well. The second half he started to get out for those like 7-8 yard runs that were getting them some of those short first downs.
Yeah,
but for the most part they did a good job.
And I think too is what they did a really good job of is that they weren't innovative plays. They were designed QB runs that got out, which is going to happen. They're going to they're well coached. They're going to have plays that are going to hit for 8 yards because you attack the way defenses are structured. But the fact that they were able to limit Milroe scrambling and actually cause a lot of negative plays, I did not see that coming. And I mean, their offense always finds a way to run the ball. And so if Washington can't stop the run, I mean, Michigan could win that game by, 2 scores, because they will shorten the game on Washington.
Yeah, it's going to be tough too with the Michigan secondary. Is they're going to get challenged by Udunze in this game. I think that is going to be a key matchup, because Burton I thought he played pretty well yesterday with he and Milroe, that connection between the two of them. So it's going to be key. They're going to have to lock down Udunze and the other wideouts for Washington, kind of limit that offense.
Yeah, I think the amount of zone coverage Michigan plays and how they mix up their looks, because there was times where I didn't know if they were in man or zone. Just the ability of them to really, mix up and disguise coverages, I think, is really going to be their best asset going into the game. And, the fact that Alabama didn't throw the ball over Michigan's head once, like not even once, not even close. Like those deep shots that Alabama took, Michigan was actually able to keep the top on the defense, which I was shocked. Like, because Jermaine Burton and Milroe can throw the ball a million miles. And the fact that Michigan's able to keep the top on the defense is going to be a lot more challenging with Polk, Adunze, Michael Penix, because some of the throws he made in that Texas game,
he made like at least 3 or 4 40-yard passes.
$100 million throws. That's I think he's the best player in college football, but it's just my own personal opinion.
Yeah. So that's all we got for you. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you taking the time to do this.
No, absolutely.
thank
Thank you
you.
guys for having me on.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks everyone for watching and listening. Be sure to check us out on Instagram at offbeat_sports and on TikTok at offbeat sports. And make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll see you next time.
Call them all Texas songs.